to mix things up.
Fans, it's me, it's Aggro. It feels good to say that again. Harrison is out this week, unfortunately, but I'm back in the driver's seat. I'm hosting and game deving and making jokes that you guys don't like the entire time, basically. But of course, it's not just me here for the 9.5 Slipknot update show. We've got Clumsy and AJ that we'll bring in just a moment. But guys, this is we kind of messed around and have a sneaky big patch all of a sudden. You know?
We do, really big.
Like, it's not mid-season, it's not a new season. We're just gonna change the whole game in one patch like that, huh?
Yeah, remember when we were on patch health last time? We were
to.
like, this thing is massive. Well, guess what? We're here again with another massive docket.
That's true.
Maybe even bigger than last time. That's right. We got a whole bunch of awesome stuff, including the new Slipknot event, the new Battle Pass, community news, balance, of course. And let's start there, because the balance is hefty. Because we are adjusting literally every single god in Smite, all at once.
Are they the
We're
base
calling
numbers?
it the TTK update, the time to kill update. So
Okay.
the overall, to pull back the curtain a little bit, we've heard the complaints and the discussion about the amount of damage in Smite. In the last few updates, we've been trying to address that, but clearly that has not hit the mark as we've hoped it would. So we've been working on this extra scenario kind of in the background for a little bit.
What's up, nurse?
And it's time to pull it out. We basically want to address dying in the early game from too much damage from all different sources, but also how it scales into the late game and what each role's responsibility is in the late game and what they can do and all that kind of stuff. And this has been in the works for a while. Got to give a quick shout out to our pros, Olympians, and Smite creators who gave their feedback on this early pitch, because there's been a lot of iteration on it already.
And it has been out for a while. We didn't just get this idea, even though you might have heard this similar notes from some other places around the MOBA scene.
The gaming verse, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good thing. It means that, while there might be similar issues, we're all kind of tackling them in a way that makes sense for our games.
And
Right.
we previewed this to a group of influencers as well as the Olympians and the pros weeks ago. We got a lot of positive feedback on it, so we moved it into the fast lane to make sure we got it done. We did mention in the 9.4 update that we had some bigger changes. Really, this whole plan, the nerfing, the affecting of the whole game was going to be a process. We knew it wasn't going to happen over one update.
Right.
9.4 was essentially testing the waters, looking at the things that were most clearly overtuned, applying a lot of nerfs, and monitoring the results. We did see some results from that patch, but they felt a little small, right?
Yep.
People wanted to feel more. So we had this next plan in place in 9.5 that we're going to be revealing today, which you're going to feel a lot more. And then, of course,
Yes.
very importantly, 9.5 bonus and 9.6 are going to be fine-tuning, because this is a very big change we're about to reveal today.
Okay.
It's obviously going to have a lot of big shifts all over the game in all different game modes. It's going to require some fine-tuning in future updates, and that's going to be a #1 priority for us on future updates.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to take
Okay.
some iteration, because
Let's
it's
see what
a bit
happens.
of a spicy one. So let's get to it. We've been talking about what it is, but we haven't been able to had a chance to tell
I
you
wonder
what
if
it
it's
is.
just
quite yet.
scaling
Every
base
single
numbers
god
or whatever.
in Smite, including your favorite god and your least favorite god, is having their base HP increased by 40%. Their base HP per level increased by 5%. Their physical protection increased by 40%. Base physical protection increased by 40%. And increased physical protection per level at base by 8%. Magical protection at base increased by 28%, and 28% magical protection per level. So everyone,
Okay.
and I mean everyone, is tankier by a good amount.
Very true.
And you can feel
by a
it,
lot.
for sure.
So our #1 goal with these updates was to make sure that this would be a change that all players would feel immediately. We wanted to make sure
You-
that this is
that-
gonna
there's
make
no
an
way to
impact
not
on
feel
all
that.
game modes, not just Conquest.
You know?
We wanted to put an especially heavy balance towards the early game, because we know that that is the most volatile part of the game. If you immediately start losing, you take an early death, that's very painful. So most of these buffs are applied to the early game. We did apply these by percentage, which has a couple of effects. One is it is going to actually give tanky gods a larger increase than squishy
Sure.
gods.
Yep.
But we wanted to preserve the differences between our classes. If we had added a flat number of HP to everyone, that would have
You can't hear
merged
Ajax
the
very well.
classes
That's
a little
because
bit
high-res
closer
production
together.
is garbage.
So we wanted to make sure the tanky gods still felt like the tanky.
This is as loud as their production goes.
We also shifted the numbers here a little bit with magical protections, because those are so heavily front-loaded already.
Yep.
All gods in the game have a huge amount of magical protections at start and then gain a very small amount. So actually the way the numbers worked out, the 28 plus 28 is equivalent to 40 plus 8, We just shifted that so that it's not as heavily front-loaded at level 1. So that is a little bit of a shift. But there's a very long write-up by me in the patch notes that explains a lot of the process here, a lot of the thinking, why we did the numbers
It's a lot
this way.
tankier. It's different, that's for
It's something
sure.
that Clumsy has been running tests on with the dev team and the playtest team. We've had the pro players actually scrimming on it since Friday,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
very exciting. We'll talk a little bit more about that
Gather
later.
feedback there.
So a lot of information to be learned here, but what we're going to see is it's going to be much harder to lose the game in the first few minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. I mean, we saw a lot of feedback based on the last one. We talked about having this kind of a two-step process, but even further on with the implications, of course. And you know, one of the things that we did last time was hitting a lot of the late game power items. We wanted to gather feedback. We wanted to see kind of the severity of what we'd be needing in this next step. So right now, the time to kill early game, the first few levels, is going to be, it's going to be pretty tough to kind of get ganked in whatever level, whatever lane it might be, and you probably won't be dying as you might do for the first set of abilities. But that's the goal. The goal is for the first set of abilities, the first kind of ganks that you receive, to probably not take you right out of the game.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all about the overall pacing of the game. I'm not. I'm sure everyone hears every god gets tankier and thinks like, oh my god, it's tank meta instantly. But the fact that the backliners are also getting proportionally tanky in response
Kind of sounds like it's
the entire dynamic
sustained
of our
damage
playtests.
meta,
I mean,
actually.
the way that you can interact
Everybody's
with a
got more
warrior who's built
HP.
full
You got to have
damage,
sustained
they
damage.
don't
Less
threaten
important
you
to burst
nearly as
damage.
much anymore, and it lets you play a lot more aggressively.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Also, one of the last things is, this route, when we talked about it, for all the different ways we could accomplish the same thing, was kind of the one that was the most feasible, the one that hit everyone kind of in the same way, in the most fair way, right? Because another fan favorite approach is to kind of hit every single god in the game with damage nerfs across the board. And that, while we considered it, it wasn't off the table per se. It was something that was probably a little bit more open to subjectivity.
It's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent. We can't hit everyone the same way. We probably shouldn't be able to hit every single god the same way. They don't always require the exact same damage nerf. Some gods have base abilities or scalings that are already extremely low. So if you hit that the same ratio as everyone else, then they just go to 0 damage for some components of an ability. It doesn't quite make sense. This way, we accomplish the same thing, but kind of with the reverse.
I mean, you can't deny that this isn't going to change the game, man.
I mean, it's going to be huge.
Cannot
You guys will
deny.
absolutely feel it. This is, in my opinion, the most different Smite has felt since boots got removed. Like it is that level.
That.
I think it's bigger than that too.
It's the biggest change potentially to Smite balance in all of Smite history.
Yeah, mess around in a 9.5 patch, just make the biggest change to Smite's history. That's just kind of what we're doing these days.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's something that we know the player base wants and is excited for. So we can't wait for people to try it out and let us know how it feels. So let's give them a little bit of an idea about what type of magnitudes of numbers we're looking at.
Yeah, great point. So at level 1, for some context, the minimum HP increase that you can have is 145. So the squishiest gods in the game will get 145 extra HP. The tankiest gods in the game will have an extra 210 HP. Well, 209, but I'm rounding up a little bit.
No rounding.
Okay, no rounding. At level 20, the minimum buff, he's my boss now, so I have to respond quickly. At level 20, the minimum buff for the squishiest gods in the game, they'll have 202 extra HP, whereas the tankiest gods in the game, Guardians and things like that, will have 304 HP after this change. Physical protections, level 1, minimum 3.5 or 4 physical protections, or up to 9.5 physical protections. And then at level 20, you can have up to 7.5 more, or 7.4.
Also, probably just means that percent pen in general is also better.
14.5 physical
Flat
protections.
pen, probably.
And magical protections,
less
all
good as
gods
well.
have the same. That's a little nugget of truth for you there, that all magical protections are the same for all gods. Though you will have 8.65 more magical protections at level 1 and 13.44 magical protections at level 20. So the big one is that you're going to feel, I think, is that HP, but also minions won't be dealing quite as much damage to you. There's going to be a lot of different fall-offs from this.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going to be shaking up the game too, not just this,
This update is really huge. To expand a little bit more on those numbers, we really wanted to tune this around making sure you can survive another direct hit from an ability, right? We have various abilities in Smite. They can do roughly, we think, 100 damage is a high damaging ability at level 1. When you account for some early starting power as well as some item procs and stuff like that, you get a little bit more. So that 145 health for the squishy gods felt really important to us, because that's where you can make sure you can take another direct hit.
I don't think anybody can say how it's going to feel without having getting playtime on it. But
whole ability to the face and not die. Now, depending on your skill level,
It
this
is
might seem
interesting.
like it's impossible to die at level 1 now, or it might seem like it's not enough. We've seen a lot of different feedback about that, so we're excited to see how it actually plays out with the whole player base. But all of these numbers were really focused on the level 1 and 2 and 3 experience and making sure that one small positional mistake wouldn't immediately get you killed. So you can take that extra ability, the extra protections also help that. We wanted to do health and protections to make sure that we kept the game relatively in balance proportionally from where it is now. Like if we just did health, then potentially other things that do
I don't think
health
their
damage
mics are on
or
at all.
healing would have been more impactful, but doing health and protections all together.
My theory
and
is that
all
none
gods
of their
together
microphones
at
are
percentage,
actually
again,
on.
We're really focusing on consistency. So a lot of those things all
That's
very
my
closely
theory.
connected. Ironically enough, it has created some really interesting
It's
scenarios where
definitely the
gods you think
camera
might be
mic that
better
is
are
picking
actually
up,
not that much
right?
better. Gods you
Yep.
think
They're
might be worse are
individual,
way better.
yeah.
It's a
They have
lot
like
of
an
big
open
shifts,
mic
but that's
above them.
also
Yeah,
what our
they're
pros
definitely
really
not
wanted.
using the
And
individual
from what we
mics.
can tell from our players,
Can
that's
I
also
turn
what
them
we
up a
really
bit? I'm a
change the
long
game
ass
up,
way
make a lot
away
of
from
good gods better,
Georgia.
and a lot of gods might be better, not so good. This really
A
does.
long way.
I don't think, like we said, the game has felt more different than it ever has, while still maintaining a lot of the same fun aspects. It feels like I have a million new things to try, and that's very exciting. So I'm excited for you guys to get a hands on it as well. And that's not all that we're doing, of course. We've got balance that we're going to go into a little bit more, but we also have a brand new
Aggro's mic is on now.
Conquest refresh here coming on in the map. That we're going to be able to go into. The Knights Keep Conquest map is going to be what we're doing here in 9.5. We've got new map decorations, a new obelisk system, and a new siege engine. That's right, all you siege mains.
Siege?
You only got to get one more person, and then you can queue up for Conquest, and you get some of that siege feeling. Or Slash players, you know, you can kind of do it as is. Yeah, the Knights Keep Conquest map, one of the most stunning map geometries I think that we've had in the duo lane in particular. I mean, this area and the new area in duo, absolutely awesome.
It's really cool. There's a big new castle art asset added to the outside of the duo lane that would have been that vista or cliff. Now you'll see a medieval style, Arthurian style castle there. Hint, hint. And what? The main focus of this is a really big Conquest update, let's just say. Season 9 was something we experimented with a lot of different mechanics, a lot of different balance changes, and we got a lot of feedback over the last coming months. We've already done a lot to tone down the snowball, but we are going to continue to do that more in this update. We are keeping the obelisk mechanic, but heavily reworking it at all stages for how you collect offerings, how you pick up offerings, what the rewards are, is all being changed. But that system is remaining in the map, but with a very different twist to it, a very different reward, and it's tuned for more clarity and for more clear and direct impact.
Yeah, I think that once we get a chance to go in game and show it to everybody, it's going to they're going to be wowed, first of all, by the visuals of the map, we hope, but also kind of explaining this new obelisk mechanic and everything that we have going on. Because overall, I think that the obelisk mechanic as a whole has been very, very positive. It's kind of a new way to play the map and force different rotations and timings and a new objective to play around that doesn't just instantly give you a ton of golden experience like a Gold Fury would or a Pyromancer would, anything like that. So I think that in that way, you know, just finding new ways to expand upon that is very exciting as we are in game, Lermy driving us around to the new castle over here in the duo lane, Duo Kingdom is what it's going to be happening.
That jungle camp out there,
That's
the castle
cool.
camp.
The castle camp, I like that.
You got to go for castle camp.
Yep.
So, yeah, there is so many changes to this Conquest map. You're going to want to check the patch notes for all of them. There's a lot of very specific changes to jungle camps and their values and their tankiness, their health, and their XP and gold. If you find that a little bit difficult to read, just check the dev notes for the main summaries. You know,
2100 HP Merlin right there, baby.
So, first off, this beautiful new castle. Shout out to the environment team for doing a great job here. We wanted just a very new focal point to this lane to give it a new and unique look. So you can see that here. It's gorgeous. The next thing I want to talk about is the obelisk. So
looks like they have specific obelisk camps now is what it looks like.
And collect those offerings.
And the obelisk itself is themed now. It's going to be different.
Oh, so it is.
An Arthurian obelisk, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
The obelisks have been replaced with the Arthurian obelisk. When the obelisk activates, which is now going to activate later at 6 minutes instead of 4, again to kind of prevent some snowball, it's not going to mark jungle camps anymore. Instead, it's going to spawn mist camps.
Oh,
so you can use these to stealth yourself like you could in the winter Conquest.
Very nice.
And within the mist camps are going to be these lost knights, these ghost knights. you can destroy these to get your offerings. This is the only source of offerings outside of stealing from
it
your
gets rid of
opponent.
the mist. Okay.
When all the mist camps spawn, you can see they're marked with a little chalice icon on the mini map.
Okay.
You can pick these up to fill up your
Interesting.
obelisk, or you can lurk and hide and wait in there and see if someone else will come to try to steal them and ambush them from the stealth.
I've been hiding in the mist and playtesting.
Yeah,
I love it.
All right.
You can see some safe ones. You can see some contestable ones, right by the castle camp. I think we saw a mist camp over there.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, clarity and simplicity. We're keeping the loop similar, but making it a little more focused. So only offerings will drop from mist camps. All of the mist camps will spawn in the same place at the same time every time the obelisks activate. They will have their own unique respawn timers, which I believe is 60 seconds, but correct me if I'm wrong. There's too many numbers for me to remember all of them. I'm even cheating with my phone here, trying to make sure I have most of them correct. But you'll collect the offerings from there. When you fill up your obelisk, you're going to get a completely new reward as well. We found the scepter was pretty interesting, but it was difficult to apply. It had a lot of complicated
They do
follow-up
look
actions
like
that
they
require.
pick up a lot faster
Now, when you
than the
complete your
stupid
obelisk,
flowers.
you're going to get a trebuchet siege engine that will spawn on your side of the battleground.
Very cool.
It's going to stay in your Phoenix until someone on your team walks up to it to activate it, and then it's going to push the lane that it's in. It's going to also spawn in the lane that has the most healthy towers in it.
Yeah, I think that knowing exactly where, it's very easy and very clear to see which lane it's going to go to. It's just, we got it. What enemy tower is the which lane has the healthiest tower?
Easy
and-
spawn.
Right there, we can see that the obelisk filled up, and a new mini-map icon shows
Gotta
up
push
on
the payload like
side
Overwatch,
Phoenix.
baby.
Yep, so Lermy goes back to base. It won't start until you give it a little shove, but you don't, as we all know, these escort quests in games are the worst when you have to stand next to it forever, when they're so slow. So all you've got to do is tap a toe inside of it.
It's got some little guard minions with it too.
They can do the escorting, you know?
makes so much
I'm a god. I've got
Shout out
stuff
to
to
the
go and
class
do.
I will
Just
say
for
that the
evil
theming change is really
Building
nice.
back,
Trebuchet is
so
cool,
this
Castle's
trebuchet
cool.
also has a very
That's all cool.
unique type of combat that we don't usually see in our Siege Juggernauts. So this trebuchet has very specifically only a long-range attack. It cannot defend itself at short range. It won't hit things too close to it, but it will be able to lob fireballs and hit enemy structures and minions, and it can hit enemy structures from outside of the tower radius.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
no.
So this is a
So you
particularly
have to
powerful
contest it.
push tool.
Okay.
It starts a little weak in the early game with a little bit of a low HP pool, but that HP pool will scale up into the late game, and it makes for a very powerful way, a completely new way to siege the towers, where you kind of create this front line of gods that can stand outside the enemy tower range, but between the trebuchet here, like in that
What's
narrow
happening right
space,
now? Wow.
and they can defend the trebuchet without actually setting foot in
That's
tower.
pretty
range.
good
You can see it did
damage.
a pretty nice chunk of damage to that
Yeah,
tower.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
Keep going.
I mean, yeah, when it just keeps going.
Okay.
It does take a little bit of damage each time it fires so that it can't just push
Yeah, very good to
forever.
bring that up.
But
It does take damage, okay.
I think that the big thing that there is a little bit of a learning curve around this objective, but in a very fun way. Like if your team doesn't want to group up and push with it, fine. You can just push it along and it'll do its
it's much
thing,
more
and it can
dynamic.
get a
That's
couple tower
interesting for
shots
sure.
in, and everyone's happy. But when you're playing as a coordinated group, you're playing with your friends. Hey guys, we've got the trebuchet, let's come take this tower. It has felt very, very impactful in those moments when 4 people show up
It
in my
looks
solo lane with a
pretty
trebuchet,
strong.
and I'm like, hello, I'm gonna lose my tower.
It's an objective just like anything else in Smite, so
Yeah.
you have so many different ways to play it, right? You can have one person defend it, but then if you get out-rotated on, it encourages a lot of interesting early game rotations you might not see, like 4 people showing up in the solo lane unexpectedly, which is exciting.
Lermy.
If you completely leave it alone, though, it can be pretty easy to just go counter kill. Jungler can swing by and just shred this thing up in a minute, right?
Yep.
Not, or, a second.
Few
not
seconds,
even.
yeah.
A few seconds. So it is something like that you have to play to, or you can ignore it. It is really up to you how you want to fight and play into it.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different applications.
Yeah, the
that
minions are
players gonna
actually
have to learn
their
how to
own
use,
separate
but that's
thing. I love
exciting.
that.
You know, that's what you play MOBAs for, is to
And
try
really
and
what we
learn.
like about this with the
love
obelisk
that.
is offerings much more clear, always from the same sources, always in the same locations, and reward much more clear. It's a big objective on the map that's doing a thing, as opposed to a more high skill oriented individual.
I mean, that
player.
actually makes it a
And
real
worth
deal
noting
objective
that
that's
these
important.
trebuchets, like we said, don't
Yeah.
start until you touch it, and they will stay at your Phoenix line as long as you'd like. So if you want to stack up some trebuchets in multiple lanes or in the same lane,
use them as a defensive tool.
You can use them as a defensive tool. You can use them to the mid game. You know, we want to go to Fire Giant. Let's shove 2 trebuchets at the same time, and then it becomes very difficult to defend against. So it's really cool. Definitely a new dynamic to the Conquest map, but one that I'm excited to see players get their hands on.
Now, before we go into just the large amount of balance across this whole map, have to mention that we obviously had to take the time to kill adjustments into factor with a lot of our changes on the map.
Yep.
So in order to do that, we really have 2 big passes across the map. One is we're doing a lot of changes to the XP and gold sources. The things we're doing in that way, first of all, is we're fine-tuning a lot of them. So we're making more individual harpies. So here you can see the green buff has been changed to green harpy trio camp.
Like it. I like it. Way better.
We're going to be adjusting individually the camps across the map. So jungle camps, red to purple to green to blue to speed, do not have to share the same total XP or gold values anymore.
Cool.
Also, we made more different types of harpy and more different colors of harpy. So we can be more fine-tuned with how much experience is in different places. You can see that mid here now has 3 blue harpies on each side.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there's just a lot of shifting going on here. I don't want to say that this means that this camp is like directly worth more or less than it did before, because it's a little complicated. But what I will say is that generally, a lot of these camps are worth a little bit more, but the contestable ones are respawning less often. That's another thing to focus fights towards more specific times and to prevent snowball. And then everything in the jungle has generally gotten tankier, so it's a little bit slower to clear. That's another key goal for the Conquest, just bring the pacing down a little bit, but not too much. And everything in the jungle hits really hard back.
Very hard.
Because everyone's getting so tanky, and we wanted jungle camps to be a little bit more scary, we had to really buff this hard. So jungle camps hit hard. Jungle bosses also hit hard.
Yes. Yeah, jungle bosses especially.
Specifics in here to go through. I don't even know how we're going to rattle them all off.
I think that for the most part, that's kind of the thing you just need to know is that mages beware of red. Whoever's playing mid, beware of red.
Beware of taking Gold Fury. Also did a few things where now Gold Fury, Fire Giant, and Pyromancer, their offhand abilities will deal magic damage, while their basics still deal physical, so you'll need to tank up in both ways against those. Also, potentially one of the most important changes on the map, minions are now going to be tankier as well. So you're going to be spending more time in lane. It's going to take a little longer to clear those minions. That could potentially have really big effects on which gods are
am I getting my 40-minute Smite games back?
Plan their paths. Which contestable objectives
I'll love this game again. So help me, I'll do it. I love to love the game that I play most of the day. I do.
Really meaningful and impactful shifts.
I love not having to dislike Smite.
We really took the
I think people think that I like disliking Smite.
But it doesn't really
I do not.
Right.
My life is so much easier when the game is fun and everybody's having a good time.
No more sleeping.
Way better.
Real stuff, I don't
know. We'll see.
Yeah, the red eyes and all. Look, I mean, I think that the way that it's felt to me and the way that I've heard it described by the pros who have been scrimming on and all that kind of stuff is that it feels like the early game and the mid game just last longer. It takes a little bit longer to get to late game. Late game, you're still doing damage. You're still taking damage.
It's very important to us that we slow things down, but not overly much. And that we slow them down more in the early game, but not in the late game.
More laning phase, a little bit more laning phase, a little bit longer to clear your wave, but not so much that you can't go do other things, not so much that you're sitting there having to last hit all your creeps for the first 6 levels of the game. It's still all about fighting, all about being active, just slowing you down a little bit.
And the game. We're so excited about this. We're struggling to make sure we keep our language PG-13, which will be difficult for the Slipknot lyrics as well. But they're the real deal. The last most exciting.
Okay, change, I was saying we still have one more thing right here.
Very exciting change still in the Conquest map and all maps is that towers are getting significantly scarier. They're getting big HP buffs in the Conquest map, especially the Titan getting a huge amount of additional HP, and as well as more HP it gets from each structure on the map. Also, all towers are being increased their base damage by a significant amount.
Fantastic.
And all towers and Phoenixes are now going to have 30% penetration built into their shots. These towers hit a lot harder. We had to be careful again because we made everyone tankier. So we buffed towers a little bit, then potentially it's still easier to tower dive than it was last patch.
Right.
So we had to
in this
really
case-
go hard to make sure that these towers are very scary.
So can we confirm that towers with this patch are going to be scarier than they were before, even with the TTK changes in mind?
Oh, yes.
Except maybe for very early game, very tanky.
Right.
You might be able to essentially tank a similar number of total tower shots like in a tier 1, but it's going to ramp up, and that's going to be with the penetration. That's going to start to factor in a lot more. And you know, throughout the game, it's going to matter a lot more. You're going to take a lot more. Squishies are going to take a lot more damage from towers. It's going to be much harder for assassins to early game tower dive.
Yeah.
And you have more
love to see
HP
it.
as the you know, the mage or whatever hunter being dove.
Right.
So it will be harder to dive you in that sense as well.
I mean, I'll tell you, we did a play test with a lot of the esports gang, and the towers killed me way more than Mifflin did.
Yeah, okay.
It was,
I remember one of the first play tests, I got 3-man dove in mid, and I was just running in circles, yelling to myself, "Towers are scary now! Towers are scary now!"
And they like all
watching
died.
these opponents just drop. I think they did get me, but it was like a 3-for-1.
Yeah, it is
Because
insane how much
they were
damage
taking
they
so
do.
much damage from the tower, and they were
Yep.
standing there so long, and they were like they were not realizing
They
how
weren't
much
giving it the
they
respect
weren't
it
respecting
needs.
it yet because
Yep.
it's new. So, you know, shout out to you players out there watching the show. You're going to have your homework done. You'll be ahead of the curve. Be careful with those towers. And this is going to be
Yes.
applied not just to Conquest, but all Smite game modes. So,
Yep.
Joust towers, slash towers, assault
That
towers,
actually,
all gonna stay.
But
unironically,
it
makes
is mostly
Emperor's
against gods
armor
with that
way
penetration
more
increase. So your
important.
minions, you know, it's you
Straight
can
up,
still siege in the
actually.
later stages. It's going to be harder if you start to tank the Phoenix, but it doesn't like insta kill your
We
wave
actually
in
do
one
have
shot.
individual unique damage values for towers on damage to minions versus damage to gods, and that's
Right.
all specified in patch notes. So that was
It's all
adjusted a
there.
little bit because minions were adjusted as well, but the god damage was increased much more.
Yeah, definitely much more against gods. Okay, let's get into some actual balanced numbers, shall we? Specifically, at the very front end here, all about some of these hybrid itemization. Yo Dog, we heard you don't like when hybrid itemization kills you.
Yep.
And so I'm about to rattle off like 15 different power
I thought
nerfs.
you were saying you're going to wrap this list up.
No, I sure am not. No. That definitely not in practice enough for that. You know what, Jethans, actually, let's just bring it over here. I don't need these guys. We're just gonna power through these as fast as humanly possible. Here we go. Tower Shield, that's a tier 2 of Void Shield, or of shifters and all that kind of stuff. Decrease from 20 to 15. Hope your fingers are fast, by the way, Jethans. Berserkers, decrease power from 25 to 20 and decrease physical protection from 50 to 40. Shifters, decreased power from 30 to 25 and decreased power on the passive from 30 to 25. Glad Shield, decreased power from 25 to 20. Void Shield, decreased physical protections from 45 to 35. Runic Shield, decreased physical power from 35 to 30. Ancile, 40 to 35 on the physical power. Cataceus Shield, decreased physical power from 25 to 20. Frostbound Hammer, shout out to Lermy, decreased physical power from 35 to 25. Rudenforged Hammer, decreased physical power from 35 to 30. The Sledge, decreased physical power from 40 to 35. Blackthorn Hammer, decreased physical power from 30 to 25. Celestial Legion Helm, decreased magical power from 70 to 55. Lotus Crown, decreased physical protections from 60 to 50. Jade Emperor's Crown, decreased magical power from 40 to 30 and decreased health from 350 to 300. Then we've got Tyrannical Plate Helm, decreased magical power from 85 to 70. Voidstone, decreased health from 250 to 200. Decreased magical protection from 60 to 50. Stone of Fall, decreased health from 200 to 150. Stone of Binding, decreased magical power from 30 to 25. Physical protection from 35 to 30. And decreased magical protection from 35 to 30. And that brings us to some tier 2s that are getting some buffs. It's Spell Focus and its Warrior's Bane recently removed
Like a
this
rap
percent
god,
penetration,
rap
but
god.
after some feedback from some high-level players in particular, the power spike difference between tier 2 of one of these pen items and tier 3 was just too much. So both Spell Focus and Warrior's Bane, that's the tier 2 of Obsidian Shard and Titan's Bane respectively, are getting 5%
5%
penetration back respectively.
Yeah, especially for the cost of those items for the tier 2, you were going from the 10 to 0, especially with the TTK changes. It felt like
That's
there's a
what I
lot of
wanted to add.
it's a
Yep.
combination that felt
very
pretty bad.
important to add with the time to kill changes. So 9-4 bonus did not have the time to kill changes, so the percent
Right.
pen felt okay to remove. But with everyone getting tankier, we wanted to bring some of that percent pen back. That time to kill changes also were an important factor in nerfing the hybrid items. We had heavily considered nerfing the hybrid items even before the time to kill changes, but with the idea that everyone could be tankier for free,
Right.
that opens up an ability to build more hybrid items or even more power items on tanks.
Right.
So we wanted to be really careful
Right.
that we did not create essentially all 5 roles playing any class as a hybrid build class where they're pretty tanky and doing pretty good damage all at the same time. So we did feel like it was very important to nerf that. So if you want to be really tanky in 9.5, you really can build into those full tank items. plus the
I
time
love
to
me
kill
a
buffs.
hybrid item. Nerf. I'll take
But
that
if you
any
still
day,
wanna
dude.
build, if you still want to shred people late, you build those percent pen items, those percent health items. Kins and Soul Reaver and potentially even crit and high penetration builds are stock's gonna go way up, right?
Yep, stonks, absolutely, for Soul Reaver and Chinsai's in particular.
We just can't stop memeing today.
Heartseeker. Well, I am hosting the show. Like you guys knew what you were signing up for. Good to be back. Okay, let's head into gods. As a reminder, by the way, this is live on Tuesday, May 16th.
Oh, that's
that
exciting.
is, it is not very far away.
Tuesday.
Live launch next week.
Going to be a busy weekend and everything for Smite fans. PTS is going to be big. Okay, let's get into gods then, shall we? Let's start with Loki. This is more of an adjustment to Loki. His laugh has been removed as an audio cue on Vanish. That's his stealth. Due to its inconsistency in volume and duration between skins. This ability will now have a single audio cue sound effect that shares a volume and distance modifier across all Loki skins, but with some slight adjustments depending on the theme of the skin. So just all about consistency. This is what Loki sounds like when he goes stealth.
Very important. You know, we've been seeing a lot of the Loki mains really analyzing every skin. So we had a lot of fantastic audio engineering work done in this update, which I will get to later, but this was just another quality of life thing that Kellen and his amazing audio team did, and thank you very much for them getting that done. Hopefully Loki mains feel good about this. We want this audio cue to be very audible, right? It's very important to hear. So it's going to be, still pretty present, but it will be much more.
No more.
Yep, definitely looking forward to feedback on that.
No more
Let's go
Loki
to
skins that make
who's
no
getting a
sound.
buff. Her basic attacks, this one's a little bit exciting.
Yeah.
Her basic attacks, the third basic attack in her attack chain will now cleave, so this should help her jungle clear pretty significantly. She's also getting a buff to Cobra's Kiss, decrease the cooldown, that's her 2, from 16 to 14. And on Last Breath, decreased pre-fire animation time from 0.2 seconds to 0.1 seconds. So hopefully you'll have a little bit less of that situation where you latch onto a god as they try and leap away and you like half play the animation and it doesn't take your cooldown and they still jump. Reducing this and really cutting it in half, even though it's already a short time, should account a little bit more for some of those server latency sort of situations that can cause some disagreements.
That cleave is huge though, which is going to make sure she can clear better, which is going to be really important for her.
It's the worst when you're just hopping onto something, like not hop.
So far past this, but there was a lot of discussion about how diminishing returns affect various characters.
It's true.
We are going to talk about a couple different gods on that. It feels like an eternity ago, right?
It really does. Yep.
Cirquette was one of the gods most indirectly nerfed by 9.4.
Yep.
She didn't have any direct nerfs. She was reworked to the patch before, rebalanced the patch before. But she fell even harder from a lot of those 9.4 changes, so we did want to make sure we got some meaningful buffs for her on this update. The gods on this update are also difficult to discuss in terms of how they worked pre-9.4, in 9.4, and now again in 9.5.
Yeah.
So we did keep the balance this update to gods a little lighter. We focused on a couple gods that we feel like have been struggling for a longer term.
Yep.
And there are,
That's fine.
we're going to go over a few buffs now, but there are some additional nerfs to gods as well for some that you felt like we nerfed
Honestly,
the bonus,
like
but
with,
didn't quite get far enough on.
with the way that the game is going to change, it's literally impossible to tell.
He's getting a buff as well as a recipient of some changes on that DR change. Increase the stun on the wall from 1. It was 1 to 1.6. Now it's going to be 1.2 to 1.6. So still ending in the same spot late game, but as this is the last ability you max, getting a little bit more CC in there just to make sure that he's not as indirectly affected by those DR changes as he was before.
The DR
and then increase the base damage of Anvil of Dawn, which is his ultimate. This is the landing damage. It was 100 to 300, now goes 100 to 360. So a nice little base damage buff on his ultimate.
Specifically aiming more towards the late game on the base damage of the ulti, and then playing up on that early game with the DR changes on the stun.
Yep.
One thing we did want to add with Thor on DR is that we know there was a couple gods that were listed out as being maybe specifically hurt by DR more than others.
Yep.
We wanted to be very careful with those changes, though. We didn't want to just go and buff all their CCs right away.
Right.
Especially since we saw Iset and Horus actually specifically get much better in that patch, even though many people thought they were hurt because of the DR changes. But their win rate stats did go up. Thor
Horus's
was
combo
as was Cirquette.
is
So
a
those were buffed. And
stun
we're testing this
into
here
a
with Thor, and
knockup, which
we
means
think
the
it's a better
DR
plan
change
to
didn't
adjust these
actually
duration
affect
numbers
him.
as opposed to making more immune to DR
Right.
type of
Yeah.
CCs,
Like
because
a
that can
Bracken.
get difficult to track already. There are a few in the game, and generally the ones that are immune to DR are like that for a very specific reason.
Right.
Thor's is just a ranged stun that doesn't really have a specific reason to be DR free. So This is the method we choose for that, and we will continue to look at those gods in the future. Although with all this stuff in this update, the players might forget about it, but we are going to keep track of it.
And exactly, we want to be a little bit specific about it too. We didn't just buff it across the board, right? We wanted to hit its problem spots, which is low duration stun, specifically in the early ranks, right? So we're going to keep those things all in mind as DR kind of plays itself
CC
out.
as a whole is still generally nerfed in the game. So we wanted to just not just undo that right away by buffing a bunch of individual god CCs, but specific gods who need it and be very specific about how we do it.
Great. On to Gibelanke. He's getting a buff to his 3, Rising Jaguar, increased poison bonus damage from 30% to 40%. We're getting closer and closer, guys, to the when I started playing.
I loved X-Ball on launch.
Open beta when you could just 2-3 someone and like do 60% of their health.
He was what got me into the Hunter class. I didn't play
One of these
Hunters
days,
really
they're going to make
until
him
X-Ball came out.
CC
I was
at the
mostly a
end,
tank
too,
and mage main. But X-Ball was my first Hunter that I loved, and this ability, it used to deal 50% bonus. So this is a true multiplier, 1.5x the total base and scaling damage from this ability. We are buffing this back up to 40. We think that's going to be a sweet spot. This makes for a really fun risk-reward. Like you can really get aggressive when you're boxing. You can try to juke some abilities while hitting with a really strong burst ability and close the gap and just finish people up. But then you're going to be without your dash. Without your CC immune dash, so it is risky.
It is very risky, but you will feel this buff. We've been playtesting a little bit. It is definitely noticeable. Okay, on to Rama, another hunter. Decreased the mana on infinite arrows from 60 to 80 to 40 to 60, and increased attack speed from 30% to 50% to 40% to 60%. So that's on his 2, the attack speed stim. And then rolling assault decreased mana from 70 to 90 to 50 to 70. So Ram, one of those gods that we hear, we got a little bit of a passive rework a little bit ago in order to address some of his mana concerns. Still, certainly better in that department, but still needed a little bit of help as a god that doesn't want to build Transcendence.
Nutty now.
These mana costs and a little bit of extra attack speed.
Nutty.
Funny enough, we were seeing very little Rama at the time we slated these buffs, but then I think in the most recent SPL we did see a little bit of Rama.
Isn't that always how it goes?
I know, right? We hadn't seen a single Rama pick in like 8 months.
Do you think we have a spy? Do you think we have a leak somewhere, AJ, that they're like, hey, we're going to buff this god?
We do give some early feedback from.
I know, but it's uncanny. We're about to buff a god, and then all of a sudden they're like 100% pick ban, and you're like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Good news is Rama's changes are a little bit more quality of life focused, a little bit more light. So we do expect Rama to gain a
40% stim at level 1 is a lot.
You look a little nervous there, Clumsy. Are you the mole?
It's a thick stim.
You'd be leaking Smite cards.
All right, let's go on to Naja then. Naja on the passive, increase the time before losing passive stacks from 10 seconds to 12 seconds, so you should have that more. We also are very aware of the problems with Naja passive, and they should be addressed in this update.
Patch notes.
Okay, great.
In these patch notes.
In these patch notes. So yes, we are. I know that as soon as I brought up Naja passive, I could hear the alarm bells going off on Twitch chat already.
The bug? Rama got a bug fix too, I think. That was pretty nice.
Nice. And then Windfire Wheels increased protections gained after landing from 20 to 40 to 30 to 50. So Naja a little bit more survivable, both with the ultimate and with the fact that you're going from camp to camp. You can keep your passive up a little bit more, and that just feels good in general, but then also means that you get a bigger heal whenever you activate the 2. So that should be pretty solid for Naja.
Longer clear times in this update is going to help with that passive, as well as everyone's going to be a little tanky, so just one-shotting people is going to be harder, which is one of Naja's specialties here.
Sure.
So we wanted to make sure he had a better ability to follow up fight. So that bonus protections lets him hit his ult on someone. And
don't hate anything so far.
Continue fighting, which is great, especially if his team has moved in position well after that person lands, right? So you can actually follow up instead of just, hey, I'm just going to get this person out of the game and then we're both gone, which is, I think, a less fun way to play Naja. I don't know, you're the Naja man.
No, I felt the same way, but I mean.
Yeah, Naja's kind of sick this patch, huh? I don't think I play tested him at all. That sounds fun. I want to play some Naja on PTS this week. Hercules getting a buff, decreased the cooldown on Earthbreaker. That's his 2. It goes from 14 seconds to it was 14 seconds flat. Now it's going to scale down as you put more points in it. So by the time you max it, it'll now be 12 seconds, just giving him a little bit more opportunity to start fights in the late game. But we've seen what he can do when he can start fights at will in the early game. So didn't want to go that direction.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, well said.
Terra getting a buff, Force of Nature, that's the dash, decreased cooldown from 15 seconds to 13 seconds, and decreased the mana cost on Monolith. It was 60 to 100, now going to be 60 to 80.
High.
Yep, that was a very high mana cost ability.
So Terra, we were seeing a good bit of in the Pro League, but we did that, fix/intended change to remove her ability to double proc her items.
Right.
Really, her abilities were designed with the idea of you either consume them via the shatter or via their regular effect, not both. So we did remove that. That did take a little dip for her. So we're going to look at bringing her back.
Yep. Another Guardian up next, Sylvanas, Nature's Bounty, that's his passive. Increased cooldown reduction provided by picking up seeds from 0.25 seconds to 0.5 seconds. This does upgrade later on in the game to a full second, I believe.
Exactly.
And that is unchanged. So this is really just aimed at the early game.
Yeah, because we were looking at this, it's like, 0.25 to 0.5. It's doubling. It seems like it's a lot more.
It is a lot.
It's a lot more efficient. It's very strong, but it's already going to that 1 second later on. So this will just be almost like a quality of life and a fun cooldown.
Does it only become 1 second at like level 20 or something though? Who gets level 20 on supports anymore?
Baba Yaga getting a buff. Baba's Brew, that's the 2. Decreased cooldown
Probably will
from
after
14
patch,
seconds
though.
to 12
Game's
seconds
going longer,
at all
you know?
ranks. So you get to toss a few more potions in the middle of the game, which is what I love to do as Baba. So I'm excited about that one. And then Pele also getting a buff. Pyroclast, that is the 1. Increase the physical power scaling from 60% to 70%. And that is only on the throw out of Pyroclast, not the little return shots or anything like that. But
Good point.
play more
Nerf,
Pele. Pele's cool. I want to
increase
see more Pele
scaling.
in all my games.
With a little bit of tankiness, she might get better with ability to self-sustain and
Nerf.
really live that low health life
True.
threshold and really stay
And
alive. She might get better.
You are not barely dead when Pele kills you. Like, she overkills by a lot the vast majority of the time. And those gods are the ones that don't get affected
Solid
by
nerf,
these changes
solid
quite
nerf.
as much. The ones that barely kill you probably aren't killing you anymore.
Yeah,
but
true.
the ones that kill they had damage to spare.
That means executes. Executes gotten better. But
Executes,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Executes definitely got better.
I mean, lots of stuff.
Wait, Liberty won a now Kwang buff. There it is. We just did it.
There you go. We already done. That's what he does.
I wish granted.
ESET getting a nerf, as AJ mentioned, even after the DR changes, ESET actually saw a win rate increase, so getting a nerf here on Dispel Magic. Also, of course, her pro viability and how prevalent she's been there. Decrease the magical protection debuff. It was 10 scaling up to 30% in max rank. It'll now
That's
be
still
10
fine.
scaling to 20% at max rank. And
That's
this
fine.
will certainly affect ESET mid, but does affect ESET support a little bit more.
Absolutely.
True.
But-
But it's a big utility effect there that just felt a little too strong for a god that kept performing well, although maybe not the most community perceived strong god, very high pro play priority.
And also, I think it's also going to be important for the dev team to keep an eye on all these things that do a percentage of the things that we've just increased, right?
Yep.
Anything that has
Good point.
percent health, percent protections have already just gained in value with the changes that have come in mind. So
Yep.
ESET's probably not the first nerf you're going to see in this direction in the future.
Yeah.
Dispel Magic, definitely sneaky, one of the best abilities in the entire game.
Right.
Like non-ultimate abilities, Dispel Magic is probably top 10. Absolutely insane ability.
Guess who's on the list?
It's Gilgamesh. It wouldn't be a patch without a Gilgamesh nerf. Am I right, everybody? Dropkick, decreased physical power scaling of
my
kick
God,
damage
Gilgamesh
from
has gotten
40%
nerfed
to
so
30%,
many times.
and also decrease the power scaling of burst damage
wow.
from 40% to 30%. So,
That's so
if you kick
funny.
someone and they don't hit into a wall, it's only a 10% nerf. When you kick someone into a wall, you will have lost 20% scaling after this change.
My man's
as
been
well
nerfed
as Heroes
so
Advance,
many times.
decreased movement speed. It was 25 scaling up to 35%. It is now just going to be a 25% increase to your allies running towards the Heroes
And that's the big
Advance.
one. There was a huge amount of utility coming from that. Regardless of where you
Yep.
played Gilgamesh, that ability was giving your whole team a sprint relic nearly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still is almost, so that needed to come down.
And we've seen that movement speed, utility effects for allies, although it may not be always as noticeable if it's, something
He
like
might have
sprint,
broke
you may hit a
Kemper's
quick burst,
record
but if
for
something
in a
that's
row
playing all
nerfs.
the
He
time,
might have,
it may
yeah.
not be as noticeable. Those actually have really big changes on win rates for gods.
Yep.
Very impactful.
Absolutely. Okay, Ardeo up next, another pro-focus god here. Decompose, that's the passive. Decreased max stacks from 8 to 6. And Energy Surge, that is the Druid form 1. Increased cooldown of both forms, and Maul Prey, so it's both. Increased the cooldown, it was 12
Okay.
seconds. It is now 15, scaling down to
That's a
13.
huge nerf.
So a massive nerf there,
Huge
Ardeo
nerf.
1.
Big nerfs.
And decrease the damage of Maul Prey, that's the bear swipes. It was 40 to 160, it does hit twice. It is now 35 to 155. So a little
is
bit of a
gonna
damage
nerf
nerf
across the
though,
board.
because it's doubled, it's a little bit bigger than it looks, but definitely a very big nerf to Ardeo's laning phase in particular.
This goddess brings a lot of utility.
Yep.
So that those max stacks on the passive is actually going to decrease the amount of protection shred she applies. That's what those do. but bringing the damage and her core damaging ability down so she can really focus on, she can still be very impactful in a team fight with all the utility and CC
It's a
she brings. So
massive nerf.
letting her shine in that regard, bringing the damage down. Also, she's just been a force in the solo lane for like a year now, even through more nerfs. So
Yep.
we think with this nerf and all of the other shifts in the game that we'll probably see her a little less now. Hopefully, finally, maybe.
Probably, yeah, we'll see. It's one of those, like, we buffed her, and she's already been nerfed past the point of where she was before she got buffed, and she's still
the meta does that
dominant.
to you sometimes.
Yep.
You know?
And
They get sticky.
And I'm sure a lot of this is in the dev notes. A lot of this is going to be things that people are going to papercraft and see in game. But a lot of these changes are going to be kind of amplified with the other things that are happening, right? With CTK changes, with the Jade Emperors and Celestial nerfs, and all the different hybridization nerfs. Guardians as well will just probably won't be as effective in the solo lane anymore. They don't have the in-hand
their
power that
damage
warriors
is less
do.
important, too.
Exactly.
Right.
It's all about
minions
their
being
utility.
tankier. It's going to be harder for them to clear lane in solo lane.
Yeah, definitely a little bit harder. We'll see what actually ends up happening in the solo lane meta overall. And speaking of the solo lane meta at a high level, especially Clevena getting a
Speaking
nerf.
of.
Tear the Veil, that's the ultimate. Increased cooldown
I'm always
from
down for a
50
Cleo
seconds to
nerf.
60 seconds per charge.
Always down.
And decrease base rift damage from 80 to 240. That's what it was. It is now going to be 60 to 200. And that also ends up being pretty impactful because the damage reduction you get from getting hit by multiple stacks of that, and that applies to gods, minions, jungle bosses, all that kind of stuff. Lowering that top end amount actually ends up making this ability do a lot less damage to things like objectives.
And that the cooldown is per charge, so that ends up being almost a 20-second cooldown nerf. And that rift damage is often what people get hit by. Because you don't always get hit by the burst. But
Right.
if you walk through it at all, you will take generally the first hit of the rift, which is still a pretty big hit. So bringing that down considerably, and then that's
It's
also
a
going to bring
really
down all
big
subsequent
hit.
hits. So again, pretty big nerf for her.
Gets less big if everybody's got
she
more
still might need
HP.
more, but we noticed that from bonus. People thought that
guess.
she still needed another one, and we agreed.
It also helps her hit her PvE, like laning or
Yep.
on jungle bosses and other stuff like that. It's going to hit her in a few different ways, which I think is going to be pretty important for hopefully getting her off the nerf list next time.
Yeah, speaking of getting them off the nerf list,
Oh no!
guys, I joined the design team in like February. You know how many patches we've had since then? This is the third one, right? This is the third one.
Zeus nerfs have we had?
This is the third Zeus nerf, not even including bonus nerfs.
Oh.
Well, the god is really good.
Guys!
And the god is going to be really good in this
That's so
patch too
funny.
because of his sustained
Yeah,
damage.
but he's Zeus. Whatever, man. Chain Lightning. It was 10 seconds. Now it's
I have
12.
not
Totally
seen
unbiased.
a single
Totally
Zeus
unbiased.
do
Aegis
well
Assault
in rank.
decreased
Not a
movement speed.
single one.
It was 20 to
It's so
30%.
funny.
Now it is 15 to 25%, so 5% on each end. And decreased attack speed, it was 20 to 40%. It is now 15 to 35%, so 5% there.
So that cooldown's going to bring down a lot of his total damage, his burst combo, and then that utility also, we're really glad we gave it to him. A lot of times we try to be careful with removing the thing we just gave you.
Right, exactly.
But after he already got some other burst nerfs and still needed some more, it was time to adjust this. And,
He's good. He deserves it.
I think
It's
he's
fine.
going to be in a good
It's
spot
fine.
after this.
He's
I
going to
think
be
we won't
fine.
have to touch
And
him.
here's the real kicker that
coming
these
fine.
guys might not have realized. Aegis Assault and Chain Lightning used to each be 10 seconds.
Right.
We nerfed Aegis Assault to 12. And now we're setting Chain Lightning to 12, so they'll be on the same cooldown again. It'll feel good.
Right. It will feel good as long as
good way of
you're
thinking about
blowing
it.
people up a little less often.
But the fact that it doesn't start until cooldown until you get it back, it's fine. Zeus is going to be fine.
Zeus is probably one of the gods that contributes to many complaints of
I
initial
know.
game burst damage,
I know.
especially in non-conquest modes, right?
But
So-
guys, every time I like on Twitter and on if I stream or something like that, everyone's like, "Aggro, you're supposed to represent all of us Zeus mains. Like you're messing up." I feel like I'm letting my people down a little
you
bit.
are unbiased in the balance meeting. So
Josie's aggro's doing a great
kudos
job.
Cool.
to you on
yeah.
that.
All right. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine right
I'll
there.
go with that.
All right.
That's all balance.
That's all a balance. That's it. And also the fact that every god got 40% tankier at level 1 and 8% tankier
yeah,
as
that
the game
little
goes
thing.
on. And yeah, that whole thing.
whole thing.
If you feel like your god didn't get changed, just remember that they did alongside every other
they got
god
an HP buff.
in the whole game.
Just
That's right.
remember that they did.
That brings us to maybe my favorite thing we're going to show
I'm
off today.
so excited for this.
This is
Yeah,
going to be awesome.
We ended up something like, hey, all this crazy awesome stuff. This is some crazy awesome
This is the
stuff
biggest.
coming
This
up.
is one of the
Oh
biggest
my
Smite
gosh.
updates ever, honestly.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. We've got a nice little video to give you a preview of what we're about to talk about.
Are they bringing it back?
Yeah, sorry, I did.
Yeah, Ajax better be sorry. We're going retro Smite, dude. The original season 0.
Come into the light.
Attack the Minotaur. I'm on it.
Classic Conquest. Holy. That's a
Right,
throwback
baby.
and a half, dude.
I mean, that was amazing video. First of all, shout out to High Res Whiskey Worm.
That's right.
The perfect person for that assignment.
Literally born to do it.
Meets new. All of the gods, the classic gods, fighting off their new remodeled selves. But the closed beta Conquest map is returning to Smite, which a lot of our players have never played.
It's so fun,
I
you
myself,
guys.
as a closed beta player,
It's a wild
was
map.
super excited about this. I've been pushing for this feature for quite a while.
And you heard the playtest was coming. He's like, I'm gonna be there. Like, dropping everything.
Yeah,
I wanna be
AJ's
in
so
first
busy. We
one.
like never get to have him in playtest as much as we like. He was like, "Is it a classic Conquest test?"
The
I'm
first
clearing my
classic
schedule.
Conquest test I did very greedily schedule to make sure I could attend, so I could be one of the first people to play this mode in over 10 years.
Yep.
And I did
So
record that playtest. I lost, I think, but it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I don't think I did.
I think I recorded that playtest too.
So this map is crazy. So I don't know, a lot of things to talk about. First of all, we are considering this a part of Smite Adventures.
They're back, baby.
Adventures don't have to be a dungeon or a specific mode
Or a Smite
specific
card.
format
Or a Smite card.
racing game
Or multiple Smite cards.
Really, what we like to think of is that adventures can be anything. Adventure is us taking a unique twist on playing Smite and doing something new. And really, the adventure is Smite Night.
Yep.
Not just Classic Conquest.
Yep.
Classic Conquest is the feature map of Smite Night, but Smite Night is the adventure, and that is the key feature that we're here to talk about today.
That's right. So what is Smite Night, you might be
What
asking
is Smite Night?
yourself?
I don't
well,
know.
I've got the answer for you in this absolute
Wow.
novel of
Lawrence,
patch notes that
tell
we've
us.
got. Smite Night is a new one-day only game mode that opens up once a week. So the whole idea is that you want to get your friends together to play Smite on this special night, and you'll be earning bonus rewards and get to play new modes or interesting twists on current game modes. Smite Night will occur on Saturdays and last for 24 hours, and it will feature a different mode each week. So here's a little
Yes.
preview of what you can expect from Smite Night in the next few weeks. On May 21st, you'll be able to play Classic Conquest for the first time in a decade, basically. And you'll get some quest rewards for it. You'll get a loading screen and a Heavenly Light chest.
Those are good rewards, you know.
Yep.
You want to show up and play these modes to get those.
Yep.
Also, as you can see here, Classic Conquest is exciting, but we're bringing out some other stuff that people have never played and they're very excited for as well. The second Smite Night is going to be All Out Slash.
Yep.
That's going to be a match of the day rule set on the Slash game mode where you can pick duplicate gods,
Oh, cool.
like the All Out Assault. Which
Yep.
that is my favorite match of the day because you can build some
5v5
really crazy
Conquest,
combos and combo
whoa!
combos.
Yep.
So it's gonna be All Out
Spooky!
Slash. We're then going to have Classic Conquest again, and then we're going to have a very exciting 5v5 pre-made parties only.
Pre-made only.
Season 9 Conquest. You will not be able to queue this Smite Night without a full 5-person party. So we know that 5-person party ranked mode has been kind of something that people have suggested for a long time.
I remember it.
We do have problems with getting a sufficient population if we run it all the time. But if it's a one-night only
That's true.
event,
People know when
you
to
can
go.
go and queue with your 5-person party, and all Smite Nights have leaderboards.
Yep.
So if you really want to show off and show that you're the Classic Conquest champ or the 5v5
Rest in
Conquest
peace.
champ, if you want to run this,
Rest
through
in
your
peace,
streams,
me
through
getting
the
to play
Conquest
Classic
community,
Conquest.
try
Oh,
to be
well.
the best of the best on Smite Night. There will be leaderboards, so that 5v5
I'll be
Conquest
okay.
is
I
essentially
got to play
bringing
it
back something
when
that
it
players
was
have been asking for
regular
years.
Smite.
And you'll get some really cool free skins, free chests, and Smite Night unique. I believe the loading screen is that really great art with the gods playing games on the couch together.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Oh,
this
that's
is-
awesome.
That's the loading
Okay, cool.
screen.
It's a really
or
good
one
one.
of the loading screens and stuff like that. So unique rewards on that day only for playing that mode, and really exciting modes.
Yeah, to give a little bit more clarity, again, Smite Night is going to be on Saturdays for 24 hours, but the queues are only open for that amount of time. Each Smite Night, a player will be given 2 quests to complete on that Smite Night. You just saw the rewards on that graphic there. These weekly Smite Night quests do not carry over and must be completed on Smite Night, so clear your Saturdays, Smite fans. Each monthly update, players will also have 2 Smite Night Milestone Quests that will last the duration of the release and patch. Players must click or press on Start within the limited tab in order to earn rewards and earn progress towards these Smite Night quests. So don't forget that. Have to click Start. Quests will not progress unless players click that Start button within the limited tab.
Which we're going to talk more about the limited tab as well.
Yep.
It's a new screen inside of the play menu.
Yep.
That will feature are limited time game modes, and we'll show you what the Smite Night is, as well as the rewards, and there will be the button there to start the quests.
Yeah,
which
don't
you'll
forget.
need to go do.
Don't
I
forget.
hang out with
Yeah, so
my
you'll be able
mom
to
on
earn 2
Saturdays,
rewards
and
each
that's
Smite
more
Night,
important.
as well as
son.
2 rewards
Yeah,
per
take that,
month
Ajax.
that you can unlock the progress towards on playing on any of the 4 Smite Nights.
Great. I mean, it's the fact that leaderboards are there as well. Like,
I
I
can't
think
wait
that's
to see
so
who's
cool.
going to be the classic Conquest champs.
Is Pon busy this
I know.
that weekend?
I
I,
was
think
like,
he might
oh,
be.
he might be,
He might
yeah.
be busy that weekend.
I was like,
it's got to be
I
Pon.
need to find some babysitters and get the kids because because I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage because the meta of Classic Conquest is also very
different.
And we've been practicing it a little bit. We are going to share some of those tips with you though in
We
the
are.
future to give you some head start as well. But yeah, Smite Night leaderboards will be active and we'll show the top players. And once Smite Night is complete, that leaderboard will stay up for the week.
Yep.
So anyone can go in and be like, oh, I wonder who won last week. And you can see, oh, wow, Algro really did. He carried that 5v5 team Conquest. That's awesome. But then when the new Smite Night starts, they'll be reset and the leaderboard will begin anew. So every Smite Night will have a new chance for you to show off you're the best in Smite. And with the different modes, you might have a specific advantage one week over the next.
Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk a little bit more about Classic Conquest because, like we said, this is one of the things we're most excited about. It is crazy that this was the map in 2012. Like
10 years ago.
That is a
Yeah,
long.
10 years.
That is a long time ago, and we're really excited for all the
Sure
players
was.
who have joined us since season 1
Sure
or
was a
onwards
long
that
time
haven't gotten
ago.
a chance to play on a map that looks like
Been
this at all.
playing Smite
we
for
did
a
aim to
decade.
preserve as much as possible of the rules and pacing as the original map. So
And
it will,
art.
and art.
The
Yeah.
art,
So
yes,
it will
best
be.
part.
Turn up the brightness on your monitor because this thing is dark. Like this map is dark and it feels so different to the way that current Conquest plays. The pacing is so different. The amount of gold and experience you get is so different.
Right.
And that we tried to keep it as close as possible while also making it feel good at the same time.
Right, and because we kept it close as possible, that might mean it has some issues with it, but that was the reason why it was redesigned in the first place, and that's part of the
Yep.
fun.
Yep.
It has a very unique experience to it and a very unique charm, and it is a really fun map to play.
Man, the first time
is a classic
we
map.
tried to pull a Gold Fury and it like chased us through the jungle
Oh,
because
that's
there was
so
no
crazy.
leash radius.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening, man?
There's
Like,
a lot of cool, crazy stuff.
So a couple of the key features you'll see on this map, the economy is a little
the
different.
fire
One thing
giant
you'll
pit
notice
is
that
wild.
The late game, especially.
Yes.
There's no scaling on gold features in this map, or
And
there-
you will
or
notice it.
significantly less. So it's harder to get a lead, or it's harder to hit max rank. I went back and looked at the PAX launch tournament, which I believe like Pon and Zapman and some people you still know won. The match was over 60 minutes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
multiple players were not level 20.
yep.
So the curve
That's
is
very
very different
possible.
on this map, so prepare yourself for that. Another very exciting feature is that jungle buffs are not symmetrical.
No.
So if you're in a lane,
Yep.
you might have there's also new jungle buffs. You
Right.
might have a green buff, which is actually a health per HP 5 buff, and a blue buff, which is a mana regen buff. But your
But without
opponents on the same lane will have a movement speed and a protection buff.
Yep.
So you have to kind of build your comp and plan your strategy against playing against someone with a different buff than you.
It was,
Full-on side jungle,
it was
it's
the
all there.
wild, wild
Another feature
west
is
back
that
in
jungle
those
buffs
days,
can
man.
be stacked on the same player.
Yes,
you
sir.
Can, as one player, you can hold as many jungle buffs as you want. Now,
was a crazy
because of
time.
their durations and the movement across the map is a large map, it's hard to amass really more than like 3 or 4, but it is possible to just get all of the jungle buffs on the map and have all of them on you at once. So you can have red buff, 20% damage, movement speed buff, 20% movement speed, protection buff,
insane.
plus 30 base prots, magical
It's
and physical. 20 HP 5, 20 MP 5, and 10 cooldown reduction, like all on you at once. If you do,
And a fire giant buff.
and you get all of the belts on you, and you
It's
look
awesome.
like a running multicolored Jenga tower, like,
Yeah,
running
it-
around the map.
I did
was
it with
there,
Pele one
Gandalf.
game where
I
I
was
literally
there
had all 6 buffs
3,000
and a fire
years
giant
ago.
buff, and I felt immortal. And I
I
basically
think
was
the most
because those- dude,
underrated
speed
part
buff
that they're
on
not
this map
talking
is
about
so insane. Like
Right.
green
is that
buff's
the
insane,
fire
yellow buff's
giant
insane.
pit,
They're all
there's
nuts.
literally
So the jungles
one
are
way
also,
in.
the jungle buffs are positioned
You are
outside
stuck
lanes,
in the
right?
fire
you have to have
giant
Side
pit.
jungle.
It's a
distance to travel to
tiny
get to
little
those.
entryway, and
Also,
that's the
meta is
only
very
way in
different,
or
which
out.
I'm not going to
Very.
go through all of it now, but you may want to play different gods in different locations. Generally, you play as 2 duo lanes and a single mid lane.
Yeah, no
There's
jungler.
not necessarily a dedicated jungler on these maps. There's only buff camps, no experience camps. The fire giant is in an enclosed volcano with a roof that you can't see through.
Dude, and it knocks you up so fast.
Different abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, it has a bigger knockup, and it
impossible to
floods the
avoid.
whole room with lava.
Yep.
So you can't avoid the damage you take.
It is awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to do
great.
some more classic Conquest stuff. We're going to do some, I think, a show match. Maybe I'm not supposed to announce yet. That's going to be really exciting. We will potentially do some dev streams where we coach you guys a little bit more on how to play the meta, because it's really wacky. You usually want to play assassin mid and then tank hunter and tank mage on the end lanes, and you might want to switch your comp based on which buffs you have available to you. So you might not know which left or right you're going until you spawn into the map. A lot of different stuff to do.
It's wild.
So, but also because we want to make Smite Night such a huge celebration, such a big time, this map's only going to be playable on Smite Night. So you're going to have to wait from launch day until that Saturday to play this map for the first time.
Yep.
Except for PTS, so I'm sure we'll get a lot of our content creators getting Conquest
that's a good point.
footage on PTS. So please, if you're really excited about the map, play on PTS. However, after the first Smite Night, we are going to open this up for custom games only.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So this map will only be playable on Smite Night or in custom games.
Yep. So make sure you're queuing up on that Saturday whenever Smite Night begins.
You think we won't do a custom?
the very
You think we
exciting
won't do
reasons
some
to play
classic STL,
Yeah,
dude?
I mean,
we'll do
I feel
some
like our
classic
PTS,
STL for
this
sure.
is going to be
Huge PTS.
huge PTS, like new season level
For
PTS
sure.
easily is what I'm expecting. So make sure you guys all have that downloaded. You can find information on how to get
That'd be
access to
fun
the
as
PTS
hell,
on the
dude.
Smite Game website.
It'd be
excited
so
about this
bad.
map.
It'd be
You know,
great.
I learned Smite on this map. I started playing.
I want to on
post-beta,
the record, the
and
classic Smite map is the
has never been touched
worst.
by anyone.
It's
A lot of our console
fantastic.
players who's,
It's so
They
bad.
didn't have PC
Right.
post-beta. They never got the chance to play this map. So
It's
there's
like
a lot of history,
it's
a lot of
like
nostalgia,
it's
and a
so
lot of fun
bad
with
that
this
it's
map. We're
good
really excited
again.
to bring it back.
You know,
the map
it
balanced?
goes all the way
No,
around.
I don't think so.
That's part of the.
It
is
does
it
the
fun?
full loop.
Oh yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun, and that if you break it, we've got leaderboards to prove you did.
I'm very excited to see how the meta evolved
Me too.
from where it left off 10 years ago.
Me too. Yep.
Is Pon Pon's tournament-winning meta still going to be the meta, or will
Yeah,
we
I gotta
find
go
new
watch that
strategies?
VOD. I gotta go watch that VOD, but I can't
gods,
arachne
stuff
pull
is
I don't
people
even
through the
think
walls.
There's a VOD of it. There's just like a highlight reel.
Oh,
I had to,
really?
like, pause a trailer to see only one screen of the Minotaur kill, not Titans, by the way. The Minotaurs was
Of
the
course,
original
and it
boss.
will own you. By the way,
Yeah.
it is so hard to end the game.
So yeah, really excited for this. I mean, I hope everyone else out there is too.
Yep, cannot wait, man. Smite Night, it's going to be absolutely awesome.
And we're
Make sure
also
you
going
guys
to
are all there
continue
for
Smite
that.
Nights through future updates.
Yep.
With potentially other, twists on maps or different maps, new maps. I don't want to say anything
Modes, yep.
too spoilery about it, but it is going to be a multi-update thing. It's going to be running every Saturday for the foreseeable future. So, and a new way to earn free skins and other free rewards.
It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait for Smite Night to get kicked off. And
Hey, anything to get more people
I've
playing the
been
game
waiting to
again.
play
Stuff,
more
you know?
classic Conquest. Every time we play
Anything.
test, I'm like, can we just test that map again?
is-
Like,
yeah,
it's so
I'm so
fun.
excited for it.
It's absolutely awesome. Okay, so that does it overall for a lot of our balance and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was a good portion of this giant packet, but it's not all of it. We've got community news, we've got Slipknot stuff to go over, we got a battle pass to go over, and of course all the great skins here for 9.5. One of the big things that I do need to remind you about in that community news is that you need to go out and make sure that you're claiming your brand new Super Shredder Prime Gaming Robin skin. That is absolutely awesome. This is a great skin. It's a new skin. This is not the same old Shredder skin that you got before. And you can only get this through Prime Gaming.
Prime
so
Gaming,
make sure you
wow.
grab that
The
while
thing
you
that you
can, because
can
it's
use
not
to
going to be around for
subscribe
much
for
longer.
free
because we
to
got a
any
new
Twitch
Prime
channel.
Gaming
That's
skin
crazy.
incoming that I'm not going to show you right now. I gotta hold a little bit back in this situation. So again, the new Super Shredder Prime Gaming skin for Robin as part of our crossover with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Make sure you grab that while you can. As well as some SPL news. Smite Masters is starting very, very soon. Starting what, May 19th. So not quite this week, but next week it'll be May 19th. It's a 2-week event, and and it will be played on 9.5. The pros have been able to scrim on this patch, as we mentioned. They got a little bit of a head start on practicing in order to get ready for this event. So a big 2-week event for Smite Masters starting May 19th, which I cannot wait to watch. A little bit of merch news. For Fans by Fans hooked us up with this amazing new merch. I'm rocking it right now.
Only
the
fans merch,
and
baby.
Scylla sort of situation. We got the
That's the
wall
good
deco
stuff.
thing back here as well. That is absolutely awesome. Brand new hats, new pins. Absolutely awesome stuff. For Fans by Fans, some of the coolest Smite merch out there.
You're the
Make
man.
sure you
For
head on
Fans
over
by
to that. You
Fans.
can get your own
That's only
a
fans.
link with Smite merch. I think it'll be in the chat or
Only.
something like that. I don't know if I'm supposed to read that part or not, so I'm just not going to. Clearly, I'm very good at this still. And then so that does it for our community news. Again, make sure you're tuning into Smite Masters on May 19th. You're picking up your new Super Shredder Robin skin through Prime Gaming, and you're heading on over to For Fans by Fans in order to get the brand new Smite merch. During my long ramblings, we swapped out AJ because he got too excited about the classic Conquest map. We've got Lermy joining us here instead. Lerm, thanks for coming after running through the new map for us and all that kind of stuff to talk about some quality of life changes as well as some battle pass. So let's start with the quality of life changes. Relics and glyph purchasing. We've heard it's not the way you want it. We've heard the community. We've maybe we heard it once or twice. Even. Now we've changed how it works. You can just double click on the relic that you want in the full relic menu. It's not going to pop up with the sub menu. Same with if you want to buy Calamitous Rod of Tahuti, your Rod of Tahuti without buying Calamitous Rod of Tahuti, you just double click the Rod of Tahuti in your store and it will purchase it. It feels
the weirdest thing.
Really good. It feels
that
really
this took
good.
so long to get in the game because this is how it worked until they changed it.
But you can
weird.
also click on them in your inventory, and that will still bring you to the glyph screen, the relic trees, and all of that stuff. But every other place, it's going to be the way that you're expecting it to be.
Yeah, let us know if this is the way you want it. We think it is. Dude, playing it on dev with this change and then going to play a game on live and I double click and it opens the menu, I'm like, oh my god.
My muscle memory is all messed up, but this is going to be such an amazing change to really bring that back together.
Agreed. And also adjusted some volume levels for quality of life changes as well. So please do enjoy that. Okay, let's get into the battle pass situation here. Our next battle pass is a blast from Smite's past. A little bit of a different look here for the battle pass. So after buying in to the battle pass and unlocking the buy-in skin, which is Trickster Loki, as you progress the track, you will unlock 4 pick your own chests that will allow you to hand pick any skin you want from any of the pre-season 9 non-crossover battle passes. And those passes are as listed below. You don't have them below, but I have them here. Too Hot for You, Darkness Falls, New Olympia, Sweet Victory, Pirate Queens, Enchanted Chronicles, Lightbringers, Final Boss, Necropolis, Most Wanted, Heroes of the Wild, Cleanliness versus Godliness. You can pick any of those. There you go. In fact, we've got a little video to show it off exactly how it's going to look here for the battle pass.
It's a pick your own adventure battle pass.
How exciting, some more people to fool.
Okay. Not a bad idea, but
I think it's absolutely awesome that we're giving a chance to these players who haven't had a chance, who weren't playing at the time or weren't able to get these skins for whatever reason. Now they get to pick their own favorites from a lot of these, and I'm sure that there are those of you out there wondering, well, what happens if I have all of these skins, or maybe I got the ones I liked, I don't like these other ones. You can just simply choose to take gems instead. So it's a win-win for everyone, right? You get the skins that you don't have, and if you have all the ones you want, by playing in the battle pass, you'll just get more gems, which is a really great situation. And also, good, we're turning back the clock a little bit with classic Conquest map. Turning back the clock a little bit with the battle pass as well, doing a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I'm really especially excited about that Trickster Loki skin. A lot of players have not had the chance to get that one, so at last, if you participate in the battle pass, it is the first skin that you'll get on the buy-in, so that's just going to be right away. You'll be able to have this awesome Loki skin. Yeah,
Trickster Loki, definitely one of those cards, or one of those skins that you feel like everyone's always, oh, I wish I could have gotten Trickster Loki. Like that one, I feel like comes up a good amount. Do we have a view of Trickster Loki in game? I think we might, but I'm kind of just going. Yeah, I'm sending it. There it is.
Look at him.
Just hope for it.
Just hope for it. And I know Jithens has got my back. He's a beast. So I know production has me.
I don't care about
It's going to be a lot of fun
whatever.
to see which skins are most popular. They get pulled out of these pick your own chests. I'm looking forward to that type of thing. But yeah, please get excited for the Blast from the Past Battle Pass. Okay, on to some new skins that you will be able to check out. We're going to start with the costume chest. And this one
It's fun.
I can see your expression right now, and I just want to say that's exactly how I feel right now, but in a great way.
Yeah, this skin is really something, you know? It's something that exists for us.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. This is like a really troll skin, which is up my alley.
It's perfect.
Reminds me of the hot dog stuff, you know?
It does, yeah, it's a little bit hot dog Odin-like. It's a little bit
way.
out there. I'm sure you guys were not expecting horsing around Chiron, because how could you have? It's in the costume chest. I don't know what our official story is with horsing around with Chiron, and I'm not going to say anything in danger of getting in trouble. But it's what do I say about this,
I
man?
just can't wait for him to like just be popping Centaurus, just hitting me away while looking like this. Like
It's so
It's kinda
everything
like a
about it.
flex
The
on your enemies, right?
animations are so good with the skin. Like the head flops around a little bit.
The voice pack is unbelievable.
Great job to the modeling team.
Yeah, this model is absolutely
Look at
fantastic.
this.
Holy cow.
I think it comes with
Holy
a
horse.
VXG as
Holy
well.
horses.
Yeah, right. Holy horse. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
This
do we
skin is
have a
cursed
voice
for
line
sure.
to play in this?
It's super
Sometimes we do.
cursed.
Yeehaw! Where's the party at?
It's cursed.
Look,
Just wait. Just wait until you get your hands on
He's
it.
It's
trying
the
to be
most
centaur of
cursed.
attention, all right?
Did you
It's
write
hard-
this one?
But no, I
Lemmy?
did not write this one. This is Tina.
This is a Tina.
what?
I was gonna say
Tina
all
this
over
is a
it.
Tina skin. Yep, absolutely, 100%. Okay, so that's in the costume chest, horsing around Chiron, coming at you with 9.5. We also have the Heavenly Light event, of course. We've got a couple of skins coming to you through that Heavenly Light event. The first one is going to be Dark Apprentice Apollo, which is a skin that looks really, really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine
Definitely
that
a bit of a
skin and
different
hot
look
dog Odin
for
running at you.
Apollo,
No,
but
I don't think I
one
will.
that, for a god who's been around since the very dawn of time, it was the god that I started playing on the closed beta Conquest
yeah?
map.
Okay.
It was. Having a new look in season 9 is really cool.
Yeah, this guy's a bit of an edgelord. He's got a little backstory to him where, you know, he was this goody two-shoes sorcerer's apprentice once upon a time, but he wanted a little more power, so he turned to the dark side, and now here he is with all of his evilness and glory. And you better bow down, because he will be flying on over to your lane and smacking you with a bit of dark magic if you're not careful.
You can tell he's evil because that's an evil harp on
I
it.
was gonna say, that's it, you know.
That's the only thing.
That's the tell.
like
It's hard to
one
say
thing.
otherwise. Yeah, it's just that harp. Let's take a listen real quick to him.
He's very.
I am the master of the dark arts.
There you go. He's the master of the dark
point,
arts.
you know?
Yep. This man knows what he wants.
He
Next up is
is
Mystic
edgy,
Flare
that's
Pele.
true.
Again, I'm a Pele stan, as I've said like 30 times on this Patch Note show already somehow. And now she's coming at you with a more energized
Definitely
look here.
charging at you there,
Yeah, that's what you see right before you take your entire health bar and die. Except now I have 200 extra HP thanks to the TTK change.
Go.
Yeah, you're welcome for that.
I really love this skin. We've tested with it a lot, and I think it looks really awesome.
Yeah, it has some great extra visual effects treatments as well. So you see her base model there, but when she ults, she actually has wings of fire coming out of her back. So it's just a really sick look for this new take on the Mystic skins.
Yeah, love the Mystic skins, of
never
course.
trust
I
a
think
Cardar,
we have a
baby.
voice line for her as well.
Never trust a card
Cry
art.
for help. Fear not. The mystical maiden Pele is here.
Here she is, and you don't have to fear anymore. Thank you, Pele. Next up is Necro Alchemist Vulcan. Alchemy is not enough for him,
Whoa.
nor messing with the dead.
What? Let's go.
Dude, I haven't seen this card art yet. That is absolutely nuts.
That is,
Imagine you're this guy in the front right here, and this skeleton thing on Vulcan's back is pointing at you. He's like, yeah, you. That'd be,
That guy, it's like, what?
yeah, this one in particular. Like, oh my God, not me, man, not
so
me.
sick.
Yeah, this skin is unsettling in a very cool way.
See,
Oh my God.
that held up totally.
Unbelievable.
See, people think it was like sometimes we come to the show
Totally
like, we've
held
seen this
up.
before. Sometimes we have some. I haven't seen this. This
I
is
haven't seen it
amazing.
either.
I
Yeah.
want to play that,
That is
and I'm not just chilling.
absolutely awesome. Look at the boys. They're like
You
they're
just
ready
can't-
to do the
you just can't
YMCA
trust the
up there,
card
I
art,
feel
you
like.
know?
Their hands are
Love
kinda-
the, like,
The card art is always good.
Yep.
This
Scary
model,
vibes, creepy
great.
vibes.
yeah,
Previous
there's a lot
one,
of extra effort
not
the
great.
animation went through on those
Yep.
secondaries. I mean, Vulcan typically has that like rocket booster backpack, but no,
Right.
those are like actual like torsos on his back now. So
Yeah, who needs
I'm
rockets when
looking
you
for
can
that.
cut a person in half and stick them on your back like that? That's like that's way better, right? Let's listen to the voice pack here. I'm sure it's very kind.
My abominations are at your command.
Like I said, seems like a really nice guy. And
seems
last
like a
but
nice
not
guy.
least, in the Heavenly Light event is going to be Aquatic Nightmare Ra. You know, I'm sensing a theme for a lot of these. Pele's the only one who's nice. She's got her work cut out for
What
her,
do you
man.
mean? You just said Vulcan was a nice guy.
Well, I was kind of being facetious there, Lermy. I don't know how to break it to you. Aquatic Nightmare Ra is truly a bit of a nightmare when you like. This thing is absolute nightmare fuel with how it looks, but it's such a new and different look for Ra that is going to be
The more
awesome.
that I
think
look
we
at
actually
it,
get
the
to
more
see,
that I can't
this
even
one
I
in
can't even
game,
tell
I
what it
hope.
is.
Because it is
Oh,
it is something.
Whoa. He's got like part crab, part squid, part.
It's got a
like,
good detail
diver,
on
like,
it.
With that, what, like
I
helmet
just don't
that looks
really
like
know
a
what it
vine?
is.
Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah,
It's-
we do get to go in game here with Aquatic Nightmare Ra. I'm excited to see how he's moving around. You know, the whole.
Whoa.
It is creepy, man. Okay, why are crab legs creepy when they're like this? Like
kind of
they look
like-
spider legs.
That's not really like, you know, the normal
It's
way
kind
that
of
crab legs
a-
look. They're kind
like
of
giving a skin
it's an anchor.
giant wings,
oh my
you
goodness,
know?
That's like the
Dude,
pencil from
that is
before,
so
but
cool.
It's just so much creepier. He's dragging an anchor across you. Like, surely that hurts a lot more than getting blasted in the face with a little sun. I mean,
A little son.
I'm really pale, Lermy. A little bit of sun does a lot of harm to me
oh,
personally.
look at the mines. That's so sick. Oh, and they're in the air
and they
too?
float.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have not seen this one in game at all. I've only seen the card art, and man, so awesome. The little
Talk
red
about
and
that,
black
AJ.
for the ultimate.
Ladies on my account, no. It looked like I missed the roll.
Wow, Lermy, nice raw for him. That is good stuff. Aquatic Nightmare Ra, absolutely amazing skin
now
coming
that
at you
game.
with the Heavenly Light event here in the 9.5 update. Let's go to the
fine.
bonus skins, because of course that's not the only skins we're going to have with the 9.5 update. Oh yeah, do you want to do a little voice pack work? Sorry about that. Go ahead and give us the voice a little bit if you could.
You have done well. I am the terror of the deep.
That is awesome. That's
Definitely,
super stoked.
Gives that drowned sailor vibe, but like he is just gonna hunt you down if you take 1 foot into those waters.
Yeah,
The skin is well done. I just don't know if it's. I don't know if like the theme is my vibe.
Plus,
Weird drowned sailor
definitely
crab.
okay,
no.
for the 9.5 bonus skins, which will be live on May 31st, so a few weeks after the 9.5 actual patch goes live, as part of the Heavenly Light event, we'll have Glaive Tech Kerninos in that bonus patch.
Doesn't that already exist?
Definitely not as spooky as the earlier Heavenly Light skins, but very, very cool. Kerninos,
Doesn't he
always one
already
of
have
those
this skin?
characters that I love to see how the changing of seasons
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
that.
ends up working with
hexagonal
with their
power
skins, and yeah, I think that you can take a pretty good guess on what's going to happen
Less
whenever he's changing
pixel, more
stances.
attack. Yeah, it's definitely different.
Oh, the Robo Dog.
For sure.
Did you say
that's
pig?
amazing. Isn't it a pig? He turns them into boars.
Oh, I don't know. Oh yeah,
Pigs
sure.
for skin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, who knows what they are? It's
dog.
a little Robo guy. Okay, that is definitely more of a dog tail than a pig
Oh,
tail.
I mean, yes.
It's
but
not
how do you make?
squiggly.
You're making a curl out of metal. I mean, that's kind of hard.
Well,
know,
do
you're
you see
asking
they could use he's got the blue stuff if he wanted it to have a
blue
squiggly.
stuff.
Why we're not modelers right
Yeah, exactly. Very, very true. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here real quick.
Mechanized Kerninos, ready for battle.
With my dog. That's weird. You guys hear him say that?
now. I'm pretty sure I heard him say that.
And as well in the Heavenly Light event, we have Afro Future Olarun.
It's cool.
Which is just an awesome skin, man.
Part of me wonders if they only
has
make
no
skins
right to
where
have
they
this many
can
good skins, dude.
voice
Like,
alter
He has absolutely right. He's like the
the voice back into
yeah, okay,
oblivion.
I guess you're right. Like, but all of
I
his
wanna
skins
do
are
a skin.
absolute
Can we
gas.
make it sound like
every
it's
single one of them
underwater?
is just so cool. And Afro
Yeah?
Future Olarun
Make
is just
it.
the next in a
You know?
Yes.
long line.
Can we make it sound like it's a
Diamond, dude,
robot?
like, I love all the patterns
it.
and the colors in this, like the teal, turquoisey,
Yeah.
like main accent color. That's such a sick look on him.
I just like the theme difference as well, like this nobility into like mechanized, right? Because it's the mixing of those two
Right.
kind of ideas.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Super cool in game. I can't wait to see the effects for this skin. I'm sure that's going to be absolutely awesome. His skin effects are always great. Super excited about Afro Future Olarun. Let's take a listen to the voice pack.
Doesn't really do it for me.
The kingdom will be fine without me. I gotta get in on this action and try out my new tech.
It will be fun to see your new tech after our future roller run. I agree. And then in 9.5 bonus skins section, we also have the Sea Being chest, including a brand new fluorescent friend Ganesh. He intimidates me a little bit, but at the same time, he does look very nice. You know, he looks nicer than Vulcan at the very least, the Necro Alchemist Vulcan. That's
and
a
it's not even
I'm
close,
pretty
but,
sure
yeah, so we had to take on the scary
that's
CB,
Crush
you know,
in the
got a little
background.
bit friendlier, more benevolent. I mean, Ganesh certainly isn't going to steal any of your kills, right? Not with that one.
Kitty make
No,
it sound like
certainly
it's
not.
underwater.
And
Hi,
definitely
Russ.
something a little bit
I
new
got
for
you.
him with these hands, his upper hands. They're just
Oh
floating.
yeah, I hate that.
This one.
They're just hanging
Oh
out.
yeah, that's the worst.
I hadn't seen this one either, and just like I love just like the way.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
just
the
concept
worst.
art, it's like what a fantastic job here.
This is
Oh,
like
and kind of throw back
if
to
a
the Ymir skin
children's
with the like aquarium
drawing
in the tummy.
came
There's
to
some kind of
life
deal there.
Yeah.
in the
Still
form of
thick
like a
looking.
Very
5-year-old like
colorful,
Mickey
very
Mouse
bright. No
cartoon.
one's missing you when you're playing this skin. This is what you need on the classic Conquest beta